Man, I know what the fuck we got going on. We gonna be watching anime, but a recap of that shit. And this was just posted, so hopefully this shit good.
The story begins with a human landing the final blow on a dragon, and the dragon in his dying moments admits he doesn't recall doing anything that would warrant humans coming after him like this.
That's sad.
He reflects on how he's even fought alongside them at times and suspects that something else might be driving them to slay him. But instead of making excuses, he accepts his fate, thinking that maybe he's just lived a bit too long. He knows it's not exactly the glorious end you'd expect for a divine dragon who's been around since the age of the gods, but he shrugs it off, figuring it's not the worst way for a dragon to go. As he crumbles to dust, his last thought is a hope to finally rest in the underworld. But nope, the gods have other ideas. Instead of peace, he finds himself reincarnated into the body of a child. As he opens his eyes, he sees his parents and an old lady standing over him. The fact that he wakes up so quickly surprises the old woman, who immediately thinks the kid might be gifted. His father, of course, puffs up with pride, declaring
Grandma got brain, no
this is
diddy.
his son after all. His mother names him Dolan and introduces him to his father and older brother. Then the story fast forwards several years. We catch up with an older Dolan, standing on a hill watching the sunset. A girl named Aries shows up to bring him home, and he gives her a smile. She asks him what's on his mind, but he brushes it off, telling her it's nothing. The two walk back to their village, and we learn that Dolan now lives in Varun, a village near the northern border of the continental kingdom of Arkrist. The scene then shifts to Dolan waking up the next day, going about his usual routine. We learn that in this village, agriculture is the only way to make a living, and Dolan works hard in the fields every day to earn his daily bread.
Type
After
shit, my
breakfast, he heads
nigga.
out to the village and explains that once you turn 15 here, you're considered an adult and are expected to live on your own. He's 16 now and has already left home to make it on his own.
That nigga look like he fucking 30, bro. What the fuck, bro? What they feeding, my nigga?
Later, he goes fishing with his brother by the river, and his brother brings up that Dolan plans to investigate the swamp tomorrow. Dolan confirms.
Them niggas do
explaining
not
that
even
something
look
needs to be
alike,
done
bro. They
since the
mama
lizard
was
man has
sucking
been missing
dick.
for a month now.
Fucking
His
dick.
brother reminds him that it's really the soldier's job, but Dolan knows the captain of the guard Balin and his soldiers are too busy protecting the village, so if Dolan doesn't step up, no one will. His brother offers to go with him, but
My
Dolan
nigga
waves him
G.
off, reassuring him that he'll be fine. Just then, Dolan feels a tug on his line and reels in a fish. Later, as he brings his catch back to the village, he runs in.
Bro, like, do y'all ever just, like, wonder, like, what it would be to be, like, back then? Like me personally, I probably wouldn't even use a fishing rod. I'll probably get a string, thick-ass string, tie it to, like, a bow and arrow stick, get my bow and arrow, boom, they shit. You know what I'm saying? And then just tug that bitch back to me.
into the
Awaken to a world of wonder in Final Fantasy XIV Online.
ladies'
That's crazy. I'm really into RPGs.
soldier Melita, who teases him about the haul.
I just ain't got a
She comments
PC.
that instead of fishing, he should be preparing for his trip tomorrow. But Dolan tells her not to worry. He's been prepping bit by bit every day since last week. He then thanks her for helping convince the chief to allow this mission, but Melita brushes it off, saying it's no big deal since Dolan always helps the soldiers with their training. He then asks if she and the guy with her Albert are heading out, and they confirm they're off to plan the next training session for the kids.
I like her eyes, but her hair fucking it up. Yeah, I don't like the color of her hair. Her eyes don't go together. She not main character pretty.
Albert then advises Dolan to focus on his expedition tomorrow and not to worry about them. Dolan then heads home, adding salt to the fish he caught to preserve them for later. Just as he's finishing up, Aerie arrives, reminding him that it's magic practice
She is more main character pretty than the other one.
day. He teases her, wondering if she came to fetch him, and she blushes, claiming she just happened to be in the area. Soon after, we see Dolan practicing magic with the old lady from before. He casts a spell called Energy Bolt at a target. And
Oh my
everyone's amazed by
God.
his pinpoint accuracy.
That shit cool as shit,
The old
bro.
woman praises
My
his
nigga
offensive
Iron
magic,
Man. He said he
calling it
don't.
impressive as always, and Dolan humbly credits her teachings. She then announces it's time for medical magic practice, and we quickly find out this is Dolan's Achilles heel. After practice on his way home, Dolan bumps into a silver-haired girl. The village chief introduces her as Christina and informs him that she'll be staying in the village for a
THC, of
while.
course.
He leans in and whispers to Dolan not to offend
If it's THC,
Dolan
y'all.
shakes her hand, and as she walks off with the chief, he notes that she seems quite skilled. Later, we catch Dolan returning to the village.
That nigga look cool as shit. Whenever he lock in, hopefully his eyes turn like neon blue. You know what I'm saying?
Village after gathering some food.
Light up.
He explains how the winters here are brutal enough to freeze a person solid,
Like
and summers
icy
can
blue.
be unbearably hot. He's still surprised humans even manage to live in such extreme conditions. Dolan then heads over to his parents' house, where he's greeted by his brother Marco. He hands over the fruits he collected from the forest, and his mother thanks him warmly. The family sits down for a meal cooked by his mother, and as Dolan digs in, he declares that his mom's cooking is always the best. His father chuckles, commenting that while living on his own might be relaxing, Dolan should consider marriage so he doesn't end up lonely. Dolan recalls how his brother Dylan said the same
Smart man.
but he admits that he wants to enjoy his single life a bit longer. Marco suddenly remembers Dolan is heading to the swamp tomorrow, and their mother expresses concern, hoping he won't get into any.
Why? Okay, like, nigga, what's the point, nigga? You ain't getting no bitches or shit, man. The fucking narrator ain't said you getting no bitches, nigga. So why the fuck you talking about you want to be single, bitch? You getting no bitches? Go get some pussy, nigga.
danger. Dolan reassures her, saying he
Fucking
won't be
much.
taking any unnecessary risks.
You thought
His
she
father
was
chimes
feeling
in,
you?
reminding him that it's his decision now that he's an adult, but he hopes Dolan will come back safe and sound so his mother won't worry. So Dolan promises he'll return in one piece, adding with a grin that he'll have an exciting story to tell them when he gets back. The next day, as Dolan is about to leave for the swamp, the entire village gathers to see him off. He thinks it's a bit over the top, but Captain Balin tells him it's not. This should be the soldier's job after all. Stomalita reminds the captain that he can't go since the village could
She's growing on me a little bit.
be attacked by monsters while he's gone. Then Letitia, the village priestess, gives Dolan a
She's fun as hell. I like her hair.
simple blessing for
I like
protection,
how fat her ass is too.
and the old woman from earlier warns him to be careful. Her fortune-telling hinted at something bad on the horizon, so Dolan nods, taking her words seriously. Aerie then blushingly hands him a packed lunch, and with that, Dolan heads out, waving goodbye as he leaves the village. On his way
Pause. I didn't know that was a kid till I like really looked at how small she was.
to the swamp, Dolan explains
take
how
it
the
back.
lizard men who live there used
Like, she's still a pretty character and shit, but like I take back. If I said anything crazy, I take it back. I don't think I said anything crazy.
occasionally interact with the people of Veron village, but one day they just vanished.
Cookie Run Tower of Adventure is officially available on both mobile and PC with Google Play Games. Immerse
Since no one else could figure out what happened, Dolan volunteered to investigate. After a while, he finally reaches the swamp and begins inspecting the lake, searching for the cause of the disturbance. He quickly realizes that the earth elemental's power is strong here, while the water elemental's power is fading. Proceeding with caution, he recalls that Magru, the old woman, is usually spot on with her fortunes, and he senses something nearby. Hand on his sword, he prepares himself, knowing that only strong monsters can survive in the swamp in its current state. Just then, he spots a stunning lamia, a rare sight in these parts.
Damn.
As he draws his sword, the lamia curiously asks if he's all alone. He confirms he is, and she smiles, clearly pleased by this. She seems to be pondering her next move.
Why is she
recalling what her mother
fine?
Taught her. Use charm and a little something extra
She
in
got
situations
them
like this. Out of nowhere,
knockers.
she starts doing a goofy dance, much to Dolan's surprise, and then reassures him that she didn't come here to fight. Right then, a
Bunda.
monster appears behind
You
the
got no
lamia,
bunda
ready to
'cause you
strike.
got a
But
snake
Dolan
tail.
jumps in, protecting her, and they both flee, hiding under a large mushroom nearby. The lamia wide-eyed whispers, asking what that thing is, but Dolan quickly hushes her.
It's
telling
either
her it's
infinite
something
back
The
shots
monster
or it's
crawls around, but
infinite
eventually
missionary.
passes by without noticing them, and once it's gone, Dolan tells her it's safe now. The lamia is still curious, asks again what that thing was. Dolan explains it was a mad earth elemental, and elaborates that lizard men once lived in this swamp, but they vanished, likely because of this creature. He recalls hearing about a big earthquake recently and figures that's what must have triggered the elemental's madness. He says that there's no way to turn it back to normal and introduces himself as Dolan. So the lamia also introduces herself as Selena. Dolan then asks if she can use magic, and when she confirms, he suggests they team up to take down the mad elemental. Selena horrifiedly protests, explaining that as an earth monster herself, her attacks might not be effective. However, she reveals that she has a unique racial spell that might do the trick. Dolan then
Racial
suggests he
spell?
go
What's
the
that
front
mean?
lines while she supports him from behind.
Or am I tripping?
Selena nervously agrees, adding, "We're in it together until death do us part." Dolan can't help but smirk, reminding her that's something people say when they get married. Selena embarrassedly fumbles her words, clearly flustered. The two of them then wait in hiding for the earth elemental to show up. Selena, unsure if she can trust a human she just met, glances at Dolan, but when he gives the signal, they charge at the monster.
They got the same eyes.
Elemental attacks, and Dolan blocks
They
it,
soulmates.
both himself and Selena. Selena begins reciting her racial spell, summoning a massive snake that wraps around the elemental, holding it down. Dolan seizes the opportunity to move in, but Selena can't hold the monster for long and it breaks free. Luckily, Dolan is already close enough. He dodges the elemental strike, leaps on top of it, and channels draconic magic through his sword, slicing the monster clean in half. This triggers a small mudslide, leaving Selena covered in mud. Dolan
I almost forgot that he used to be a dragon. I was finna say some shit, but nah, yep, this checks out.
catching his breath, asks if she's alright. Other than being a little dirty, Selena is fine. He then thanks her for the support and notes that they should clean her up since she must be feeling cold. Gathering the crystals, the earth elemental dropped.
Oh, money on the floor.
Shelter and broken down
They better go exchange that shit for some yen. Whatever the fuck they call that shit.
He's around her. She teases him and he explains that she's nothing like the Lamias he's met before. Those ones tend to be more wary of humans and far more aggressive. He then curiously asks what she's doing in the area since there aren't any Lamia villages nearby. Selena explains that it's tradition for Lamias to start searching for a husband.
Bro, he need to turn that
She's on
bottom
that
half
journey
into
now.
a human
So Dolan
ASAP.
nodding says that's pretty interesting. Selena then drops a fun fact. Lamias are an all-female race. They only give birth to girls, and the rare sons they do have are always the same race as their father. She goes on to reveal that Lamias are the result of a curse placed on a human woman long ago, and the curse has been passed down through generations.
Nah,
Because
that's
of the curse,
crazy.
their part snake and their bodily fluids are poisonous. This makes finding a husband tricky, since he needs to have a strong body and resistance to poison. Otherwise, well, let's just say procreation becomes deadly. Dolan considers how difficult that must make finding a partner, and Selena confirms it is. She shares that her mother met her father during her own journey, and that her father was human, just like Dolan. Dolan smiles, saying that's wonderful. But this makes Selena feel like he's treating her like a child. He clarifies that's not what he meant. He just finds her really cute. This flusters Selena.
Davers and I.
Nah, that's Bob. My nigga get in the butt doors.
Real pain is a knockout.
He getting the go chit
And the two
chit
settle
chit
down to
chit.
eat. Selena, clearly enjoying the food, excitedly asks what it's made of. Dolan is pleased she likes it and reveals his mother taught him how to make it. He explains that on cold nights his family would gather around the
Nah,
pot and
I'm
share
trolling.
his meal.
I'm trolling.
Selena notes how much he must love his family, since he lights up every time he talks about them. Dolan admits she's right and reflects that he's no longer a lonely dragon in a cave.
Ooh, ice
The next day,
dragon.
they shake hands to bid each other farewell. As a parting gift, Dolan recalls that Lamias are fond of life energy, so he gives her some of his. However, this
That shit
accidentally
made
causes
her
to collapse.
coochie
So
drip,
Dolan
boy.
quickly asks if she's okay, realizing that a
Make that
dragon's life
coochie
energy
drip,
is a bit
boy.
much for her to
No
handle.
Diddy,
But
pause.
Selena assures him she'll be fine. He then tells her he's heading back to his village,
ain't touched
and she
her
mentions
shit.
that she'll continue
This little
south to
baby
find her
oil.
husband. Dolan invites her to visit his village once she's found someone.
Is that out of
saying
pocket?
He'd love to introduce her to his
I don't
family.
give a fuck.
Selena agrees, and with a smile, they part ways, each heading in their own direction. The scene then shifts to Selena continuing her travels, where she encounters.
Why
some
does it
guys
look
along
like
the
she
way.
walking?
At
She's
first, they greet her
slithering.
warmly, assuming she's just another cute girl passing by, but they're friendly.
Why does it look like she
Pure
walking?
panic as soon as they discover she's a Lamia. So Selena is left wondering if they really had to freak out that much.
Nah,
After
that's
this, we
funny
shift
as
to Dolan,
shit,
who's
bro. She
practicing
trolling
potion
niggas.
making
I,
with
boy,
Maguru
she
and
doing
Eri.
that stupid shit on
Maguru explains
purpose.
that magical potions are made from magic-infused ingredients, unlike regular medicine, and that's why they require extra caution. The tiniest mistake can be deadly, and while Eri nails the process, Dolan fails miserably. Seeing this, Maguru can't help but think Dolan's just terrible with his hands, and he awkwardly apologizes for it. Eri, trying to cheer him up, tells Dolan that he shouldn't be too hard on himself.
W little
After all,
sister.
he's got other talents like his sharp eye for medicinal herbs, his good nature with kids, and let's not forget that pretty face of his. Dolan thanks her for the compliment, but
Pretty
admits he's
face
got a
of
real
his.
struggle when it comes to following complex recipes.
Is that a little
So he
boy?
knows he needs to work on his precision. Maguru then checks
Yo,
out
I'll be
It's
damn.
flawless. Eri's pleased, and Maguru tells her she's done for the day and
I'm
can go
just
play
finding
outside.
shit out.
But instead, Eri heads off to help her mom with the chores, trying to act all grown up in front of Dolan, pretending she's not like other kids.
Nah,
As
that's a
Dolan
little girl.
reflects, he
There's no
remembers
way.
that in a past life, he was a dragon, and messing around with medicine was something he never needed to bother with, which explains why he's so awful at it now. Maguru reassures him, saying his offensive magic skills are top tier, but admits he's struggling with potions. Dolan apologizes again, but she insists there's no need to rush. She believes in his talent and says the challenges are only going to make him stronger. Dolan gets it, and Maguru tells him she'll keep teaching him for as long as it takes. The scene then cuts to Dolan having lunch with Eri's family. He feels guilty for accepting the meal, but they remind him it's fine because they were the ones who invited him. They
That's cool as shit. How y'all got red hair?
pray to the goddess Mirail to thank her for the food, and Dolan can't help but think it's been quite a while since he last
Red
saw
hair.
Mirail. After finishing his meal, Dolan dashes off to train the students, but on the way, the beast woman stops him in his tracks. She reminds him that
Damn,
he's supposed to
look
train
at them fucking bazookas, nigga. Fucking straight fucking melons, nigga. When I tell you, boy, that shit bigger than my mini fridge, shawty. Goddamn, boy, shit bigger than the goddamn jug you carrying, shawty. Goddamn, boy, shit bigger than your head, shawty. Boy, goddamn, boy, that shit bigger than 2 football helmets, DK Metcalf helmets. God damn, boy.
kids today, but slyly wonders if he's too busy to enjoy a little of her fresh milk.
Hell
He
nah.
introduces her as Mew, a demi-human cow who generously shares her milk with the villagers. He tries to politely decline, but let's be real, who could resist, so he gives in and drinks the hot milk, savoring its heavenly taste, before hurrying off toward the training grounds. When he arrives, Albert is overseeing the kids' training. Noticing Dolan's approach, Albert calls for a break, but the kids, all hyped up to show off their skills, rush over to Dolan instead. Albert repeats himself, and though they grumble, the kids eventually listen and take their much-needed break. Just then, Dolan senses something lurking in the nearby bushes, a monster perhaps, but he decides not to investigate in front of everyone. Later that night, he returns to the spot alone. The presence he felt earlier lingers in his mind, and he's sure it was a monster, one that felt oddly familiar. Though he doubts the person he's thinking of is around, he checks it out just to be safe, only to stumble upon Selena wiping sweat from her body. She's caught off guard and mortified by a scene like this and awkwardly trips, but Dolan swoops in to save her from falling. In the embarrassing position they find themselves in, he asks her what she's doing there while she scrambles to cover herself. Dolan then can't help but admire her beauty, thinking he's at a loss for words to express how he really feels. Selena, on the other hand, demands he close his eyes, but Dolan, being cheeky,
Close your
tells her
eyes.
that watching won't diminish her beauty. So Selena, blushing
Don't see me like
furiously,
this.
wonders
You
how
can't
he can
see
be
me
so
like this.
Hate seeing ads? Here's
Yes,
how to get rid of
nigga.
them.
Fuck yes, bro.
Do you know how much of the
Turn this shit off,
daily
yo.
basis are actually
I don't give a fuck for real.
bothered
Just
by
hurry
all
up,
this.
man.
He casually responds that appreciating beauty is just a natural instinct, until Selena slaps some sense into him.
Ooh.
He quickly apologizes for being tactless, and it's clear she's already forgiven him. Dolan then asks why she's here, as she was supposed to be heading south.
Why you gonna slap my man?
Selena explains that this was her plan.
Like he ain't
Every
just
time she
save you,
approached people,
bitch.
they
He
got scared and ran
ungrateful.
away. Dolan
Yeah,
realizes this must be why she
ungrateful.
came to him. She admits that even though she's terrified of interacting with humans, she gathered up the courage to greet them, only for them to flee in fear the moment they saw her. Dolan then mentions that he's actually glad
Shit, y'all ass is a snake tail sign. The fuck is you talking about? I'd have ran too if I seen us fucking fine ass bitch. Goddamn, I'm fucking looking more down. Boom, nigga. No pussy. Just straight. Long ass dick.
she's here,
Long ass
since he's been
tail.
hoping to see her again, and Selena's pretty happy to hear that. He then says he'll help her out however he can, and out of nowhere, asks if she wants to live with him. Selena's caught off guard, wondering how she could ever live in his village, but Dolan reassures her, saying he's got a plan to help. But she reminds him she's a monster, she'll just scare the humans. But Dolan waves it off, telling her not to worry since the village already has beastkin and demi-humans. Selena's still unsure of how the Lamia could really fit in, but Dolan tells her she might be cautious at first. But with her gentle nature and her Lamia powers, she'll win them over. Selena can't wrap her head around the idea of being friends with humans, but Dolan tells her that her being around would actually make his life way more fun. Realizing how that sounds, he quickly backtracks, thinking he's coming
This better be the anime. This better not be no fucking manhwa. Or manhwa, nigga. I don't know how to say that shit, nigga.
off like he's trying to court her. But Selena amusedly admits that life with him does sound like it'd be enjoyable, and she even says it would be amazing if they could make it work. Then Selena confesses there's another reason she came looking for him. She hoped he would share his life energy with her again. Dolan is pleased and glad she liked it the last time, and Selena explains she's never had such nourishing, delicious life energy before. So Dolan, ever the gentleman, tells her she can have it anytime she wants,
That's
especially once they're living together. He shares some
crazy.
with her on the spot, and Selena enjoys it as he begins explaining his plan. 3 days pass, and the scene shifts to the village guards. They found more dead animals right outside the gate, making it the 3rd day in a row. Then as they investigate, they spot unusual tracks, and it seems like large snake prints. One of the guards then recalls seeing a half-human, half-snake figure lurking in the shadows one night, and it dawns on them that a lamia
Them niggas
was
look
behind these
badass.
strange offerings. So Balin can't figure out why a lamia would
You
leave
like
his
Andrew
village.
Tate.
Later, we see the village elders holding a tense meeting. They're shocked to hear about the
That's
presence of a
Aiden.
lamia, finding it odd that such an evil creature would be leaving offerings. Balin, ever the cautious one, suggests they form a squad to eliminate the beast, no matter its intention,
fucking
warning that they
funny,
need to strike
dude. I don't
before
give a
something bad
fuck.
happens. The elders, trying to stay calm,
No
remind them
offense,
that
I swear to
lamias
God,
are
I
indeed
just be
dangerous
funny.
monsters, and even the village doesn't have many soldiers to spare. Instead, they suggest requesting reinforcements from the capital, so Balin quickly prepares to send a messenger. Meanwhile, Dolan, somehow eavesdropping on the meeting, reflects on the deep divide between humans and monsters. He's confident that once the villagers meet Selena, they'll understand she's harmless. Back at the meeting, Maguru steps in to calm everyone down. She points out that the lamia has been bringing offerings, suggesting there must be a reason behind it, so she urges the elders to wait before taking any drastic action. Just then, Eri enters the room with a strange apparatus in hand, and Maguru announces that the results of their fortune-telling are ready. The village chief, curious and eager, asks Maguru for the result, so she reveals that the arrival of the snake is a sign of good fortune. Hearing this, Dolan, who's still listening from afar, feels relieved. Then as evening falls, he heads to meet Selena, excited that they can finally move forward with their plan. He informs her that the villagers are now less wary of her, thanks to the offerings she's been leaving. Selena, however, credits him for coming up with the strategy in the first place, but Dolan smiles, telling her that the final phase is needed, and he's instructing her on the last steps to make everything fall into place. The scene then shifts to Balin leading an outdoor training exercise
Okay, I'm
for
done.
all the able fighters in the village, explaining that they need to be ready for the looming lamia threat. Albert notices that most of the village's big names are present, and Dolan points out that together, they'd form the core of the village's defense. He thinks these are exactly the people he needs for the finale, especially since both Captain Balin and Vice Captain Melita are here. The priestess Letitia is also there, and Dolan knows she's a key player. As the goddess's messenger, she has a lot of influence, and if they're not careful, she might label Selena as evil. Dolan realizes the rest is up to Selena now, and we see the lamia looking
Try not to
nervous.
cough in the
She
fucking
remembers the
mic.
plan Dolan told her. Tomorrow they'll be training near the piercing bunny territory, and he'll rush into the den on purpose. He'll give her a signal to come in and save him, and once the
I don't know why that last one was so bad. It really shouldn't have been. You think I give a fuck about Microsoft, bro?
the
Even though
others
I'm
see
using
that,
it?
they'll stop seeing her as a dangerous monster. Just as Balin begins to instruct the fighters, a soldier comes sprinting in, yelling that it's here. So Balin immediately assumes it's the lamia and tells his men to prepare, but Dolan is confused because he didn't give Selena the signal yet. But the soldier clarifies that it's not a lamia, and they all turn to see a ferocious armored bear at the edge of the forest.
Yo, what the
Balin is
fuck?
baffled by the sight of such a beast this close to the village and orders everyone to retreat, knowing full well the bear could easily kill them with one hit. As they fall back, Balin's son trips and falls, landing right in the path of the bear. The beast charges at him, and Dolan rushes
Demi-human.
in to save the boy, but he's unsure if he can make it in time without revealing his dragon powers. But Selena suddenly leaps in and takes the brunt of the bear's attack, shielding Dolan and the child. The entire group is
Yeah,
shocked
that's my
as the
type
bear
of
lamia in
bitch,
fear
boy.
risked her life to save one of their own. Then with calm determination, Selena uses her cursed eyes to command the bear to return to the forest. The beast obediently retreats, leaving everyone stunned by what they've just witnessed. Selena then checks on the boy, asking if he's alright, and she is relieved to find out that he's fine. But Balin, still on edge, pulls out his hammer and warns the lamia to stay away from Toro and Dolan. Toro quickly runs back to his father, and Balin urges Dolan to come back too. However, Dolan stands firm, telling Balin to first promise he won't harm Selena. Melita chimes in, pointing out that the lamia just saved both Dolan and Toro, but Balin insists that lamias are dangerous monsters. Dolan responds calmly, saying he wasn't raised to repay kindness with cruelty, and refuses to budge. Balin then demands to know if she's the one leaving offerings outside the village lately. Selena admits it, but nervously stumbles over her words. Balin then asks her why she's doing this, and Selena introduces herself, explaining that she's left her own village on a journey, but found traveling alone to be much lonelier than she expected. She pleads with them to let her stay, not permanently, but just for a while, and assures them that she means no harm, even revealing that her father was human, and she hopes this will ease their fears. Hearing this, the soldiers start to relax, realizing she's not as terrifying as they thought. Melita also nods, saying Maguru's fortune-telling was spot on again. Then we see Letitia standing frozen as if struck by something. Suddenly, it's revealed that she's receiving an oracle from the goddess Mirel. With awe in her voice, Letitia announces to everyone that the goddess has spoken a lamia before them is now here. In fact, the goddess has asked them to live together in peace and harmony with her. Letitia then approaches Selena, noticing that she's kept her eyes closed all this time to avoid frightening anyone, and gently tells her it's safe to open them now. Selena opens her eyes, but before anyone can react further, she collapses from the wound she sustained earlier. The scene then shifts to a bandaged-up Selena being shown her new house in the village. Balin, clearly trying to make up for things, asks her to check if everything's in order, knowing Lamias and humans might have different needs. Selena steps inside and immediately spots a bed covered in pillows and plushies. She then grabs one of the plushies and thinks to herself how incredibly soft it is. Melita, smirking, points out that the pillows were Balin's idea, so Selena thanks them all for giving her such a lovely home. Feeling the weight of his earlier actions, Balin awkwardly apologizes for pointing his weapon at her, despite her saving his son, but Selena brushes it off with a smile, telling him to forget about it already. Eri chimes in, saying they don't know much about Lamias and hopes Selena will teach them all about her. And in return, Selena also asks them to teach her about humans as well. So Dolan then suggests they should both get to know each other better. With that, Dolan and Selena playfully reintroduce themselves, pretending like it's the first time they're meeting. Later, Dolan notices Selena fitting in just fine with the villagers, and he thinks she's going to be alright now. His mind then drifts back to the oracle given by Muriel, and he reflects that he's in her debt for it. The scene then shifts to Dolan sleeping at night, but in truth, he's using his astral form to separate his soul from his body. In this form, he ascends flying upwards until he reaches the land of the gods. There he transforms into a dragon, soaring through the skies to meet Muriel. She greets him warmly and glad to see him again. Dolan remarks that it's been a long time since their last encounter. When he respectfully calls her goddess, she chuckles, teasing him that he's been thoroughly dyed in the ways of the earth. He asks her to knock it off, and she guesses he's there because of the Lamia. He confirms it and explains that without her oracle, things could have gone sideways. He thanks her, genuinely impressed that she realized he'd been...
Bruh. Ooh, that shit look good. Crazy, dude. I don't give a fuck about your galaxy, bitch. I'm on
as a
Earth.
human. So Muriel reveals that she felt his soul among the prayers offered to her, and it shone with the joy of life. It surprised her, considering Dolan had once been sick of living. He doesn't deny it, recalling that when the hero struck him down, he felt no regret. But being reborn as a human changed him. He realized that the people on the surface live each day like it's their last. To them, life might seem fleeting, but they burned brightly with passion. Muriel smiles, telling him he's been shining brightly too. She sensed the pure joy now filling his heart and soul, and the same is true for the Lamia too. And Dolan thanks her again, deeply grateful for everything she's done. The scene then shifts to morning with Selena bursting into Dolan's house, rudely waking him up, so Dolan scolds her to knock before entering. She apologizes, but he brushes it off, mentioning that it's fine. Selena then notices he seems oddly cheerful. He tells her he had a dream where he met an old friend who spoke kind words to him. She cuts to the chase, asking why he's still in bed since they promised to help Christina plant potatoes today, and she adds that it'd be pretty sad if he forgot. Outside, we see Christina overhearing everything, but instead of being upset, she's quietly amused. The scene then shifts to the city of Golo, where a girl delivers a letter to the headmistress of the academy. The headmistress tells her to leave the mail in its usual spot, and then one of her fairies brings the letter into her hand. The girl pushes her to read it immediately, claiming today's mail is special. The headmistress Olivia realizes it's from none other than the Academy's pride, Christina, and then she opens the letter using magic and begins to read. In the letter, Christina greets Olivia and mentions it's been a while since she moved to Varan Village. She talks about the harsh climate and dangers constantly threatening the place. As she describes it, we see Christina in action, sparring with the vice captain of the guards. The crowd watches eagerly, commenting that Melita, the vice captain, isn't even taking it seriously yet. Christina agrees that they're right, so Melita then decides to stop holding back, and Christina's clearly excited. The two of them go at it for real, and in the end, Christina takes her down. She offers Melita a hand, pulling her up, and Melita admits that Christina's sword skills are freakishly terrifying. Christina then returns the compliment, calling Melita's swordsmanship beautiful, swift, and sharp, which makes Melita blush like crazy. Balin then steps in, praising both for the great fight. Melita then invites Christina.
I might need to watch this one. I ain't gonna lie.
She accepts, and Christina writes to Olivia about how warm and welcoming the villagers are, saying they've made her feel like one of them. The scene then cuts to a lively tavern, where Christina is having lunch with Melita. The girls from the village bring her different dishes, unsure of her preferences. Christina reassures them with a smile, saying she loves everything they make. Her warm smile makes the girls blush, and when Christina asks what's wrong, they awkwardly tell her it's just that she's so damn pretty. Moments later, Balin strolls in inviting Christina for a drink, but Albert quickly warns her to decline, explaining Balin's a heavyweight, and once he starts, they'll be drinking till morning. Balin fires back that it's not true, but the others tell him to quit dragging Christina into his nonsense. Christina tries to get a word in, but they don't listen. Then Balin flusteredly apologizes for causing any offense and heads off with the guys to get his drink on. The scene then shifts to Christina at the guest house in the village late at night. She's feeling a bit left out, like she doesn't quite belong with the villagers. She then hears voices outside and notices Balin and his pals heading towards his place. Later that night, we catch Christina honing her sword skills, and Selena and Dolan happen to stumble upon her. Selena, noticing Christina's intense expression, asks if something's bothering her, but Christina brushes it off. Selena then invites her over to her house, and soon enough, the scene cuts to the three of them at Selena's place. Selena gives her a quick tour, proudly pointing out her bed, boasting about how comfy it is and how it gives.
So is she choosing to be short because she has all that body and she's like the shortest one?
Her the best, sweetest dreams. Christina, still curious, wonders aloud if that's what a bed for a lamia is supposed to feel like. So Selena eagerly encourages her to try it out, promising they'll give her good dreams too. Christina hesitates, and Dolan chimes in with a bit of sarcasm, saying just because the bed's perfect for a lamia doesn't mean humans will find it all that great. Selena, realizing she might have come on too strong, apologizes, but Christina ends up joining her on the bed anyway. She then tests out the pillows and admits that it really is comfortable. Selena, smiling, credits Balin for the bed's design, and she opens up, sharing how she was initially worried about being accepted in the village as a lamia. But now, the more she lives here, the more she enjoys it. She even mentions Balin's obsession with his wife Mew's milk, saying that the villagers and Balin have this weird little competition.
Alternate universes,
Hell yeah.
time travel.
Crippling depression.
Over who can
All
drink
that
most
shit.
of his wife's milk in one go. Christina puts two and two together, thinking this is probably why everyone was heading to Balin's house earlier. Selena then starts talking about the quirky traits of the different villagers. Dolan jumps in, mentioning that everyone here has their own oddities, revealing that Melita, despite being a tough soldier, has a soft spot for sweets. Selena then teases Dolan, asking why he's just standing there instead of joining them on the bed. He tries to play it cool, declining, but Christina joins in on the teasing.
They got a point, my nigga. Why you not on the bed with the bitches, my nigga? See, now you're selling. And now they calling you out, my nigga. I'm sorry. It's happened to the best of us. We've all been in a position where the bitch was just a little bit bolder than this. But let's see if you lock in like the rest of us have.
And together they pull him into the bed.
Oh!
For an answer. The scene then shifts to Dolan, who is kicking back in the tavern, drinking Mew's milk and loving every
We're
drop.
playing.
Balin, feeling a little too proud of himself, asks if anyone wants to challenge him to see who can drink more of his wife's milk, but unsurprisingly, no one takes him up on that ridiculous offer.
Yo,
Just then,
what?
Selena and Christina walk into the tavern, and Valon, with a grin, asks Christina what brings her here. So Christina coolly replies that she's here to try some of the milk Balin keeps bragging about, and Mew quickly brings out a fresh glass for her. Without missing a beat, Christina downs the entire glass in one go, impressing everyone. Balin raises an eyebrow, wondering if she's some sort of heavy drinker. Christina casually mentions that she does drink more than the average person. Seizing the moment, Balin challenges her to a milk drinking contest, and of course Christina accepts. The two of them start going at it, downing mug after mug. The tavern crowd watches in disbelief as these two keep chumming away. By the end, Balin looks ready to burst, struggling with his last glass while Christina is still going strong. Desperately trying to keep up, Balin pushes through but eventually collapses, unable to drink another drop. The tavern erupts in cheers for Christina, and she gets even closer to the villagers. Later, we see Christina still going strong, drinking milk with Dolan and Selena. They ask if she's really okay drinking more after that showdown, and she simply says she's fine. Mew then walks over, offering Christina a taste of her daughter Myr's first batch of milk, mentioning she wanted her husband to try it, but he's clearly in no state to drink. Christina agrees to give it a shot, and after tasting it, she loves it so much and says that it's both smooth and sweet, and asks for another glass. Myr, overwhelmed with joy, hugs Christina tightly after hearing her praise. Meanwhile, Olivia is still reading Christina's letter and smiles as she reads how Christina's bond with the villagers has grown stronger, thanks to Dolan and Selena, and she notes that Varen Village is starting to feel like a place dear to her heart. The girl standing with Olivia is surprised to learn that Christina has even become friends with Lamia, but it's exactly what she'd expect from someone like her. Later, we see Olivia at some high-class party, and she quickly notices that word about Christina befriending Lamia has spread like wildfire. Everyone's buzzing about it, and naturally some people are skeptical, wondering if humans and monsters can actually be friends, so Olivia can't help but think how fast rumors fly in this town. In the midst of all this gossip, a woman named Karen approaches Olivia, asking if she can fill her in on more details about this Lamia. Olivia raises an eyebrow, wondering what someone like Karen, a mage general working for the government, wants with a lowly Lamia, so Karen says that she's just worried. She then points out that even though this Lamia is alone now, they can't ignore the threat it might pose, and also humans aren't supposed to be living alongside dangerous monsters.
Be smart. She trying to say be smart.
Even resolve the recent string of disappearances.
Be smart, my
add
huh?
more chaos to the pile. So she makes it clear that she doesn't want any more bad news, and Olivia agrees that the incidents are definitely concerning. However, Olivia quickly defends the Lamia, saying she's known to be kind and gentle, and let's not forget that an oracle from Goddess Mirail herself told people to live peacefully with her. But Karen isn't having it. She says they still need to prepare for the worst,
That
and
bitch
she demands that the Lamia be
ugly.
summoned to the town of Galo immediately. She wonders whose jurisdiction Varan village falls
Take your
under, and
ass off.
just then, an old man steps in, announcing that the village is under his control. He agrees they need to make the first move and assures her that he'll send an envoy at once. Meanwhile, back in the village, we see Selena, Dolan, and Christina working together, planting potatoes. Once Selena finishes her row, Dolan notices she's been careful, but typically her potatoes aren't exactly evenly spaced. Christina, on the other hand, is straight up using her bare fists to dig holes for the potatoes. She pauses, asking Dolan how she's doing, but he's got no words for her because he's probably still processing the absurdity of her method. Then suddenly, a guard shows up and tells them all to head to the village gates immediately. They rush to the gates, where the village chief separates Christina from Selena and Dolan.
Andrew
Some
Tate.
soldiers quickly surround the two of them. The old man from earlier steps forward, introducing himself as Gauda, the commissioner of the northern frontier. He wastes no time asking Dolan if he was the one who brought the Lamia to the village. Dolan admits it's true, and the priestess with Gauda chimes in, reminding everyone that the oracle from Goddess Mirail confirmed this Lamia is an evil. Gauda doesn't deny the goddess's judgment, but he makes it clear he's in charge of protecting these lands, and eliminating any threats is part of that job, no questions asked. Dolan's relieved they haven't brought an extermination squad for Selena, but still he's left wondering what they really want. Gauda then reveals their plan. They're taking Selena to the government general to verify she's actually safe to live with humans. Dolan can't help but question why they're doing this if Gauda doesn't doubt the goddess's judgment. Gauda explains that regardless of what the goddess has decreed, Selena still has to go through the kingdom's legal procedures if she wants to stay in the village. It's non-negotiable. He hopes Selena understands, and she does, nodding in agreement. Dolan, however, asks if he can go with her.
That's some
since he's the one who
bullshit.
brought her here
In my
first
opinion,
place.
it's some bullshit.
Gauda agrees, saying he doesn't want any trouble on the way, especially if they're forced to take necessary measures. With that, they all prepare to leave the village. Christina, worried about her friends, decides she can't just sit by and do nothing. She knows the headmistress has a lot of pull with the government general, so she makes a snap decision to go speak with her. Using her wind magic to boost her speed, Christina races off toward Galo. Later, we see Dolan and Selena riding in a carriage under the night sky. Dolan figures this must be Selena's first long carriage ride, so he asks if she's doing alright. She reassures him that she's fine, but noticing he might be cold, she offers to share her blanket. The two cozy up under it together. Trying to ease her nerves, Dolan tells her not to worry. She's going to be alright, and the procedures won't take long. He hugs her for comfort, explaining that he's just following his mother's
My
example.
nigga got the
She
riz,
usually
y'all.
says
He
whenever felt
rizzing
anxious,
this
and he adds
fucking
once more with a
snake
soft smile
pussy
that
bitch.
everything will be fine, that everything's going to be alright.
Yo, what a
His words
snake
bring
pussy?
tears
Nah,
to
never mind.
Selena's eyes, but they're
Never
tears of
mind,
relief.
bro. Don't
Later,
even
we
worry
find Christina
about
in
it.
Olivia's office with something on her mind about Varan village. Olivia immediately knows it's about the Lamia and uses her fairies to brew some tea for Christina. She then
I want a
assures
fairy.
Christina that
Hold
Selena
on.
won't be
Oh,
killed,
God, bro, man, gotta do
reminding
my
her that she's under the
motherfucking
protection
bidding.
of Goddess Mirail. But then she adds that it wasn't Commissioner Gauda who decided to bring Selena in. It was the mage.
Set my stream up.
Christina then confusedly
Click
asks
pause,
why Karen would
end
do
it.
that, so Olivia
Stop
explains
recording.
that Karen sees Selena as a
Record.
potential threat, suspecting her involvement in the recent disappearances of women. Christina knows without a doubt that Selena could never be responsible
find
for
me a
something
wife.
like that, and Olivia agrees, acknowledging that it would have been impossible for Selena to commit these acts while living peacefully in Varan village. But since Karen raised the suspicion, the blame might just stick, and Christina can hardly believe what she's hearing. Meanwhile, the carriage carrying Selena and Dolan comes to an abrupt stop. Then a soldier approaches them, announcing that Commissioner Gauda has summoned Selena. The commissioner then pulls them aside into the forest for a private conversation, speaking in hushed tones so we can't hear what he's saying. But whatever it is, it clearly shocks them both. Meanwhile, back at the academy, the headmistress informs Christina that Karen, as the mage of the government general, wields significant power and can practically do whatever she wants. So Christina frustratedly demands to know if they can't do anything to stop her, but Olivia calmly warns her that acting impulsively could lead to accusations of overstepping their authority. And besides, there's something else troubling Olivia that she hasn't mentioned yet. Elsewhere, Goda delivers Dolan and Selena to Karen. She greets them warmly, apologizing for the trouble of bringing them all the way there. And then she curiously asks who Dolan is, and he introduces himself as a resident of Veron Village, explaining that he chose to accompany Selena. Karen then suggests they enjoy dinner first, then asks,
I'm the first one to graduate in my family. DeVry really helped make it all achievable.
Nature-made gummy vitamins. Self-care made easy.
asks Gouda to leave and compile his report. The scene then shifts to them at the dining table, where Selena's eyes light up the feast laid out before her. Karen tells them to consider the meal an apology for bringing them such a long way, but Dolan remarks that it's no big deal because they would have had to come to Galola anyway if Selena wanted to live in Veron Village. Karen then mentions that she'll start the paperwork tomorrow, much to Selena's relief, as she had been worried when the soldiers first arrived. Karen calmly explains that there had been some concerns about Selena manipulating the villagers with her cursed eyes, but now she sees those fears were unfounded, and with a creepy smile, she adds that she would never harm something as beautiful and pure as Selena. Meanwhile, at the academy, Goda shows up to visit Olivia. Christina, not one to mince words, immediately asks why he's here and what he's done with Dolan and Selena. Goda keeps it vague, saying he needs to talk to Olivia. Cut to Karen back at the mansion, hoping her guests are enjoying the food. Selena comments that it's great, and Karen is visibly pleased. With a strange look on her face, Karen remarks that she's seen many lamias in her time, but Selena is particularly beautiful. And with a disturbingly sweet smile, she adds that it makes her want to eat her up. But before Selena can react, both she and Dolan collapse unconscious.
Deep down her shit.
Back at the academy, Goda asks Olivia if they should come
I'm
clean
just
to Christina,
trolling, bro.
so Olivia resigns and says they have no choice. Goda then turns to Christina and asks if she's heard about the recent string of disappearances involving women. Christina nods, acknowledging that none of the missing women have been found, but she puzzledly asks what this has to do with Selena. That's when Goda says that there's a mage in Galoa who's over 300 years old. Christina's first thought is Olivia, which makes Olivia visibly angry. But Goda clarifies that the mage in question is human and humans don't live that long. So Christina quickly realizes the mage must be using forbidden magic. Goda, impressed by her quick thinking, goes on to explain that the woman uses forbidden magic to possess other people's bodies, allowing her to extend her life, and recently, this mage has developed a particular interest in lamias. Christina then connects the dots. Karen is the mage they're talking about. Without wasting time, Goda insists they head to Galoa immediately, as time is running out. Olivia is hesitant to involve a student in something so dangerous, but she already knows Christina won't listen to her objections. At the same time, Karen hovers over Christina, scalpel in hand, and eyeing her smooth skin like a prized possession soon to be hers. But just as she's about to make the first cut, Dolan calls out to her from behind, so Karen freezes, wondering if she screwed up the dosage on the drug. Dolan then scans the room and spots a dried-up magic circle on the floor, clearly made from blood, and judging by how old it looks, he realizes Karen has been at this for a while, so he cuts straight to the point, asking how many people she's killed. Karen couldn't care less about the body count and instead wonders how Dolan managed to break free from restraints made of lizard skin.
Weird.
And then she throws the scalpel at him and asks if he's even human. But Dolan just shakes his head and says that people like her never really listen. So Gena asks her again, how many people has she killed? This time Karen shrugs and says she lost count after 100. And when
That's
he asks why
actually
she
disgusting.
did it, her answer is for research. She explains that everyone has something beautiful, and she's been collecting those beautiful parts for herself, and that's what makes her beautiful. Dolan presses further, asking
You're
if
ugly,
they deal with
bitch.
the devil, suspecting this kind of magic is forbidden. Turns out he's right, and Karen proudly admits it, explaining she got her arms from interaction, her legs from a beastkin, and her flawless skin from an elf. Dolan gets disgusted and calls her out for sacrificing others to satisfy her twisted desires, but Karen just laughs, pinning him for his lack of taste. She then tells him that her work has been acknowledged by many powerful figures, and Selena has passed her test of beauty.
You need a new hair
Karen has no intention of letting
stylist.
any part of her go to waste. Selena wakes up groggy, but with enough energy to confront Karen, saying she can't believe Karen did all of this, just for the sake of beauty. Karen mutters to herself that her drug clearly needs some improvement. Ignoring Selena's accusation, Karen casually admits that yes, she tricked all the others she killed the same way. In her mind, they were already doomed to a life of struggle, so they should be grateful she put them to better use. Selena gets disgusted and realizes Goda was right about her all along. Dolan then steps forward, telling Karen that scoundrels like her always run their mouths. He holds up a small earpiece and reveals that it's a magic item that transmits
These mushrooms make you feel better. They increase focus and energy while keeping you calm and stress-free.
sound. meaning Gauda has been listening in on everything. Right on cue, Olivia, Gauda, Christina, and a group of soldiers burst through the wall.
Get 'em, boys!
Visibly relieved to see Dolan and Selena safe, admitting she was shocked when she found out they volunteered as bait, while Gauda orders the soldiers to apprehend Karen. As the soldiers close in, Olivia calmly explains that Karen likely planned to frame Selena for the kidnappings, claiming she had to kill her because Selena resisted. That way, Karen could do whatever she wanted with Selena's remains. Christina, still in disbelief, can't fathom how far Karen would go just to stay alive and beautiful. Kieran sears, saying they would never understand her struggle because after all, they were born with beauty. She then goes on to explain that her journey to beauty was a battle. As a child, she was uglier than most, fascinated by beauty but unable to possess it. So she resorted to stealing it from those who had it. Piece by piece, she took everything she found beautiful, integrating it into herself. Soon she met people who appreciated her work.
Disgusting.
And her operations expanded. From there, her pursuit of beauty became an obsession.
Just cause you ugly, bro.
Back in the present, Karen loses
Accept
her temper
yourself,
at Olivia
bro.
for dismissing
Like,
her hard work and declares that she'll reveal the results of her 300 years of research.
shit, I'm ugly
She
as
then
fuck.
morphs into a
I've been
monstrous
accepted
form
that
in
shit.
stark contrast to her once beautiful appearance and lunges to capture Selena, but Dolan swiftly dodges, carrying her to safety. Christina is left wondering what's wrong with her, and Dolan explains that it's body fusion. She's pieced together parts.
If y'all a real ass nigga and you stay all the way to this in the like part of the video, my birthday is November 17th. That's for a very few minor people to know, cause you got this far in the video, my nigga.
Parts from different species using magic. He suspects she really made a deal with the devil, while Karen sarcastically insists everyone admire her beauty. But let's be real, even your grandma would look better after waking up from a nap. She then announces that she'll make Selena part of her beauty, attacking the soldiers, but Selena freezes her in place using her cursed eyes. Olivia then orders the soldiers to fall back, and Karen manages to break free from Selena's curse. She tries to strike at Selena, but Christina steps in, slicing off Karen's fingers. Karen instantly regenerates and retaliates, attempting to hit Christina. But Christina slashes through her attack, so Karen gets furious.
All eyes on me. Don't know how I'm dragging. Oh, fire breathing to the sword
Olivia
absorber.
realizes they need to act fast, but is at a loss because
Sexy
she's
bitch
unable
in the
to use
corner
her fairies
talking.
underground. Meanwhile, Dolan crafts a magic
My nigga
circle
finna
and
do
tells
something.
Christina that he'll
Big
handle
light
the
up
rest.
circle doing
Olivia,
something.
noticing the circle, suspects he's preparing to use superior magic.
He
And she
finna-
also spots another
He
circle
finna
for
comment
Olivia.
how his shit.
Dolan then asks Karen if she's satisfied now.
Finna
to which she
DBZ
proudly
his shit.
claims she's achieved the beauty she sought.
He
But
finna
Dolan fires
uppercut that
back,
fat
and
ass
Olivia
nose that
never
bitch
comes from her
got.
blood-soaked
God
hands
damn, that
before
bitch
launching
fat
an
as
attack,
fuck.
trapping her in a barrier and bombarding her with superior magic.
Oh my
The blast
god,
takes
this
her out,
nigga
leaving
hit
Selena
her with a
relieved to see Dolan
motherfucking.
unharmed. The scene then shifts to Selena studying,
I don't
clearly
even know,
frustrated
that's
as she
bullshit.
states her head's about to explode. Dolan, seeing her struggle, gives her permission to take a break. He reminds her that she needs to learn how to express her thoughts in written language, adding that he's eager to see what she writes. Selena, feeling guilty, apologizes, saying that it's all happening because she used her
Only if she was a regular human, man.
mansion with her. But Dolan brushes it off like it's no big deal. Then Christina walks in, curious about Selena's progress. Selena admits her head's spinning, but Dolan points out that she's doing way better than before. Selena, however, is more amazed that Christina can study like this every single day, while she feels like her brain is about to leak out of her ears.
I can almost
Olivia
hear
and
how
Gauda show
they
up at the
fucking
mansion.
talk
Gauda apologizes
just
for
from
not
watching
coming
so
sooner,
much
for
anime.
dragging them into this whole
Hold
mess.
on. If you've made it this deep into the motherfucking video, comment and like it right now. Like it right now, but comment. Do y'all be thinking, hold on.
Language, adding that he's eager to see what she writes. Selena, feeling guilty, apologizes.
Okay, so yeah, bro, like, do you just be like thinking about how, like, okay, so like, if you watch listen, hold on, so let me just say it like this. Whenever you watch enough anime, if you know, you know, but if you watch enough anime, you can tell how someone's voice is gonna sound just by the way they fucking look.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Oops.
You
Golf is not for you, bitch. Back up.
Saying it helped catch a criminal, so no harm, no foul. Dolan then recalls being shocked when Gauda suggested they use themselves as bait for the investigation, and mentions that the only reason they didn't get poisoned by the drug was because of the antidote Maguru had given him. Gauda then explains that the government general is deeply embarrassed that one of his own mages was behind the crimes. He hands Selena some documents.
He look like light-skinned Morgan Freeman.
And the other is her registration, which means she can now stay in Veron Village without any issues.
I forgot how that nigga sound, but he sound
blown at the
country
news.
as shit.
Gata then adds that they always knew she had a kind heart and apologizes for making her wait so long. So Selena can't help but think how different Gata seems now compared to when they first met, and Dolan jokes that he's a hard guy to dislike.
Her eyes tough, her little
Olivia
red
tells him
eyes,
someone
her
wants to
green
meet them,
eyes
and
tough
the scene
too.
shifts to them meeting Denzel, who turns out to be the son of old lady Maguru. He's introduced to Selena, mentioning that his mother spoke about her in her letters and that the headmistress had filled them in on their recent adventures, and he even offers to give them a tour of the city. The
He
scene then
reminds
shifts
me
to
of
them
me.
strolling down the main street, and Denzel proudly explains that you can find
Never mind,
practically
he's short as
anything you want
fuck.
here. As they walk, a kid drops a piece of fruit, and Selena
I'm
kindly picks it
6'3".
up and hands it back. But when the boy's mother
Again,
sees
another
the
fun
lady, she
fact.
panics
If
and
y'all got this far in the video,
staring in fear.
another fun fact is I'm
Dolan tries to comfort
6'3".
Selena, but she brushes it off, calmly saying they should leave after picking up some gifts for the villagers.
I think.
After they finish their shopping, Dolan
Could
thanks
be
Gata for
taller.
everything, and Gata returns the sentiment. And before parting ways, Dolan invites Denzel to visit the village sometime. Denzel smiles and before leaving, asks if Dolan has ever considered joining the academy. He explains that he and the headmistress had discussed Dolan's extraordinary magic abilities earlier, and it would be a shame to let such talent go to waste. Dolan appreciates the offer but politely declines, saying he's busy with his responsibilities in the village. Denzel urges him to think it over, and Olivia then leans in and quietly mentions his dragon's soul, reminding him that if he wants to harness his powers to help others, the academy could be the perfect place to expand his knowledge.
Hey, she
Denzel
got
also
a point
adds that if
though.
Dolan really wants to protect his village, leaving it might be the only way to do so. Dolan considers this, but for now, he and Selena, along with Christina, leave in their carriage. On the way back, Christina asks if he's considering Olivia's advice. Dolan admits he's intrigued by the academy, but feels like his work in the village isn't done yet. Christina smiles, noting how much he must love his village, and she can understand why. It's a beautiful place. Dolan agrees, but after seeing Galo, he realizes how small and remote his village is with little to offer. He asks her what she thinks, and she agrees that while the village is charming, there's not much to learn there, but the academy could help him broaden his horizons. Dolan then starts to think that maybe going to the academy would be a good idea, though Selena isn't thrilled at the thought. Elsewhere, an elf cautiously peers into a
She
forest
gonna miss that
where he
nigga.
spots an army of monsters materializing, and he terrified
She
he
gonna be
wonders
wanting to
what's
get
happening.
dick. She gonna
We
cheat
then
on
see the
him.
monsters are arriving through a teleportation gate, and on the other side are some seriously nasty-looking creatures. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching this motherfucking video. I hope y'all have an amazing day, an amazing night, an amazing morning, an amazing evening, an amazing life, my nigga.